Yes, welcome back. It is the discussion segment of the program, Kneel Down this Friday with Trudy Olaniro and Hakeem Akitunde. Yes, we all know that Hajj is the fifth pillar of Islam, and after the conclusion of Ramadan, you start preparation for Hajj. For the past 2 years, it's been is not a kind of successful story because of COVID-19. Pilgrims have not been able to perform the Hajj in Saudi Arabia. Just recently, things are taking shape and people have been allowed for Umrah. And of course, every country is now getting set for Hajj, even though it's not going to be a very, very large number, but the number is not also bad. If you check the statistics here and there, and if you look at the fact that this is the first Hajj after chronic COVID-19 issues here and there all over the world. Of course, a number has been allocated to Nigeria, and the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria has been preparing to actually take up from what they could not do in the last 2 years. And how is it going to be? That's why we are bringing the topic to the front burner, and we are looking at 2022 Hajj operations, an in-depth look at the sacred journey, especially from the Nigerian perspective. I'm happy to tell you that we have the #1 person when it comes to Hajj operations in Nigeria joining us from Abuja via Zoom, and that is talking about the Chairman, National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, Alhaji Zikrullah Olakule Hassan, who is also a barrister at law. Alhaji, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, and permit me to say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, as is customary.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And of course, also here in the studio, it's a lecturer from FUNAB in the Department of Chemistry, and is also the Deputy National Coordinator of Dawa Front of Nigeria here in Abeokuta. We're talking about Professor Sherif Adewi. Professor Sherif Adewi, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Today, let me allow you to tackle Alhaji first from Abuja.
Alhaji, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you.
Yes, we understand that COVID-19 has done quite a lot of damage, so to speak, when it comes to Hajj operations. 2022, what are we likely to see?
Yes, as you know, the world has opened, albeit cautiously, and that explains why this year, instead of the usual 95,000 allocation that we used to have in Nigeria, the Saudi government allocated 43,008 to Nigerian pilgrims. But let me say that from history, Nigeria has been the 5th largest contingent to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. By that I mean the largest contingent has been in Tunisia, followed by Pakistan, the third being India, the fourth is Bangladesh, and consistently Nigeria has been the 5th contingent. And even this year, despite the less than adequate allocation, Nigeria still remains the 5th. So with 43,008, are we happy? Yes, we are indeed happy. Compare with the fact that in the last 2 years, it has been 0. Nigerian Muslims are already warmed up, and as I speak, the allocation has been oversubscribed. It's good to say that we're good to go. And less than a month, we should begin the journey gradually to the Holy Land. So we're set.
First Hajj operation, your commission will be taken on, so to say, since coming into office.
Our board, not the commission.
Okay, sorry. The board. Okay.
New board.
Sir?
I said the new board.
Okay, the new board. Yes, yes. Because of the COVID-19. So, how challenging is it going to be now, or how challenging has it been from the area of preparation, and of course, how prepared fully prepared are you to have a seamless Hajj operation?
Well, if you can hear me, I hope you can hear me.
We can hear you. We can hear you, sir.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead. Wow. Hello? Okay.
I think it's
the network. While we try to reconnect properly with the chairman, National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, we'll return here. Hi, Sharif. Yes, how confident are you about this year's Hajj operation?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first for making it possible for us to be talking about Hajj 2022. Obviously, we couldn't have, the same.
Okay,
okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm trying to say that last year, 2 years ago, there was no way we could have, converged like this and be talking about Hajj operation for obvious reason. And going to your question, as Muslim, we will say that we rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we will say that by Allah's permission, Hajj 2022 will be, inshallah, made possible.
Okay, let's go back to the chairman. Okay, you had my question, sir.
Well, every Hajj always presents its own challenges. The one of this year was that the Saudi Arabia government was late in informing the world. They also late in informing the world of the allocation. But we prepared or not? Certainly we are. Because in this, our commission and the office, all we do primarily is to take people to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So as far as the level of preparedness is concerned, our staff are trained professionals in Hajj management, and the board members are people who are very, very determined to ensure that the pilgrims are given the best for their money. So we are ready and fully prepared.
Okay, we'll come back to you. Let's return to Professor Sharif. Professor Sharif, you just said, okay, we have to believe that Allah will give us a successful...
Inshallah.
Inshallah. But how sacred is Hajj, the annual Hajj? I'm asking these questions because you get to see that it is the fifth pillar of Islam.
Exactly.
And you are expected to have done to some considerable, you believe in God, you pray, you do Ramadan. But at times, you look at the character of the personality of some people embarking on Hajj. Yeah, you begin to ask, is it really sacred, Prof?
Well, you've just said it correctly. Hajj, as we all know, is the fifth of the fundamentals of Muslim practice. It's a pilgrimage to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Under that are those conditionalities that are attached, which in a way, we've not been complying totally here in this country. Of course, it's meant for every adult Muslim, underline, every adult Muslim, and at least once in his or her lifetime. The individual must be physically and must have the financial ability. So if we begin from the fact that it is meant for adult Muslim, then the question is, who is an adult Muslim? That's the question here now. Now, going by Muslim, before we add adult, we simply put it as somebody who has submitted himself or herself to the dictate of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In other words, just like the case of the Ramadan we just ended, we will say that Ramadan is not meant for everybody. Because in the calling, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called the mu'min. In the popular verse, Allah says, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu. Those among you that have believed, then we have made fasting important upon you, compulsory upon you. In the same way. So if Hajj is for Muslims, then we now call on the Muslims to embark on Hajj. So for you to embark on Hajj, you must have a firm belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Very, very important. You must have seen as somebody who is very regular in your daily salawat. Very, very important. And of course, you must have been engaged in the form of sadaqah or zakat. Very, very important. And again, you must have been somebody who is known to be observing the Ramadan fast. So all these, one ordinarily we say they are prerequisites. Unfortunately, the type of people that you see embarking on this pilgrimage are the category of those that are lacking.
Especially those who are sponsored by government.
Exactly, that is it. So, and that is why the call has always been, if you want good representation, you know, at this holy pilgrimage, then we must carefully select. And that's why I'm very happy this time around in the person of the person that is sharing this new board. Okay. I'm very, very sure that all these will be taken into consideration. And not every dick and harry will be allowed to proceed on that holy pilgrimage. I'm 100% sure of that.
And Prof, there is this argument, so to speak, debate that government should stop sponsorship or maybe reduce the barest minimum sponsorship of people to Hajj. What is your take on this?
Well, like you have said, this has been around for quite a long time. We know that the government of our country has been a very great partaker in the course of Hajj pilgrimage year in, year out. If you ask me, this is from my own perspective now. Ordinarily, just like the noble chairman has just mentioned, the government is to be in charge of how the operation is going to be successful. But when it comes in terms of financing, I personally do not think government should be involved. You know, like I said at the beginning, do not forget that this pilgrimage, as stated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, has put that caveat, monistata ile isabil, for that individual that has the capability of embarking on the pilgrimage. And like I said, talking about the capability, we are talking about the physical strength. And that is why I'm very happy that this year Hajj, I'm sure the chairman is still going to mention it, the age has been pegged in a way. That is to take care of the physical capability. The same thing goes to financial capability. Okay. So you must also be financially capable to embark on the journey. So, of course, an individual can look for a way to solve that problem, but not in a way that the government is, diverting the resources that is meant for everybody. Like I said, that is from my own view. If you have the people in government, they might have their own reason for engaging, financially. Okay. But we cannot say government should hands off totally. That's not possible.
Okay, Alagi, let me come back to you. Let's look at the board must have seen the reports of the last board. And of course, what are the things that we think are the normal happenings that may not likely happen in this year's pilgrimage to Saudi Arabia, especially from what Prof said? Let's talk about the age Because at times when you go to Saudi Arabia, I've been there a couple of times, and from Nigeria, you begin to wonder how some people at a very, very advanced age are allowed to come for pilgrimage. So take it from that angle and tell us.
Before I answer that question, I actually would like to expatiate further on the proposition. Here at the National Hajj Commission, we do not believe that government should sponsor people to Hajj. That's our position here.
Okay.
Because why? There are more contentious and contending issues the government are meant to deal with. The issue of education, virtually all the higher institutions are on strike. The issue of infrastructure deficit. And this is a pilgrimage where going is not obligatory if you're able to. So if you can't afford Hajj and you are very poor, certainly what you need is economic empowerment, not to Hajj. It might be a little bit different if you are an Islamic scholar who possibly need the practical aspect of going to Hajj to enrich his knowledge. And these are very insignificant. Sometimes it is this sponsorship that encourage charlatans to be in the whole land. I mean, thugs, political thugs sometimes get themselves. I've seen a situation sometime before when a pilgrim told another one, when he was fully robed in the ihram, that I will beat the hell out of you. And the man said, but our Hajj will be made full-time. He said, yeah, I'm coming back next year. My governor is going to send me back next year, but I will finish the one of myself and your own this year. So these kind of people are there only because they don't understand the value of the money spent to go there. So our position, and that is what is happening at the federal government here. The federal government does not use state funds to sponsor any persons to Hajj. At the National Hajj Commission, no state funds are used to sponsor anybody's to Hajj. I think we must make that clear. And it is because of that belief that we have decided to start the Hajj savings scheme. Exactly. That for goodness sake, you can plan your Hajj for 10 years. You can even plan it for 20 years. Save gradually. Then you'll be entitled to return on your savings, which will be by that way an investment. And when the time is right, you go. I don't even think it's something that is of dignity for you to keep on begging for Hajj. You are hungry and you are begging for Hajj. How does that tally? This is an hungry man. So somebody goes out begging to go to Hajj, he arrives the second, he starts begging. Does that make any sense? How does that tally with the value of Islam, the human dignity? So we do not subscribe to it, and we also certainly think it's not the best way for government to help the citizenry. It's somebody who is very poor. Hajj now is about 2.5 million. I might give a poor man 2.5 million, even as bad as our economy is. Can he not make a good use of it if it's somebody, entrepreneurial ability, and he can make the best. He can make a difference in his life, and he can therefore start saving. If it is 10 years and he's alive, he goes for Hajj. If he's not able to go, he has intention, and upon his intention, he shall be so rewarded. I just like to amplify this, that the federal government position is still there. And we encourage the state government to also stick to that position. The position of which, but of course, does not government has a way? Yes, government is the only arm that can provide consular service. Government need to provide health facility for the pilgrims. All those supporting facilities are necessary. But to now give a poor man money to go to Hajj, I don't think it's in the best interest of the poor man, or is it that of the country? That's our position on the matter. Now, of course, things are changing differently. For the first time, pilgrims will need to go to Hajj after satisfying certain medical guidelines, part of which include the fact that you must have had the complete vaccination against COVID and other issues like yellow fever, meningitis, polio, quite a number of vaccinations, prominent of which is a COVID-19 vaccination. Besides that, it's now compulsory that for any pilgrim going to Saudi Arabia, he must have his PCR test, and which must not be more than 72 hours before entering the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. This will pose some logistics, but we are already guided on what to do. Aside there is the fact that for this year, for precautionary reasons, and I pray that this is amended next year. Because some people, if you say he should start saving, maybe he get up to 65 before he commit his savings. So, and some are 65 and very agile and strong. But I think because of precaution this year, and Saudi Arabia have been determined that the level of mortality should be extremely reduced, and they want the age limit to not be more than 65. In fact, anybody who has crossed 65 will not go to Hajj this year. And so all people that you are seeing go to Saudi Arabia, sometimes it's spiritual. Some will pray and wish that they die there. The speaker talking to you, and that is his wish. I'm not saying I want to die now, but believe me, I don't think my dead body is useful to you in Nigeria. So I can understand why sometimes people think, why don't you end it up in what the Muslims believe to be Holy Land? Not all part of Saudi Arabia. I'm talking of in the Haram precinct in Mecca and in Medina. But I do not want any of my pilgrims to die anyway. But I'm saying, and that is why we actually have a very dynamic national medical team this year. We do not want any pilgrims to die. Death is beyond our hand, but our wish is that we go all to the kingdom and come back safe.
All right, Alhaji, I would like to take you up on something. You said something earlier on that this year's Hajj has been oversubscribed, and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has given Nigeria a certain figure of those that should be in this year's Hajj. Now, how do you ensure that morally, it's morally right that those that have been perennial visitors, let me use that word, to the Kingdom on Hajj should be excused for those that are first-time pilgrims? How do you want to do this to ensure that the figure is meant and is being morally justified? And secondly, do you see any reason for any legislative framework to be put in place in the future that would help ease pilgrimage for subsequent edition?
Well, first, let me answer the fact that those who are, then as you call it, go to Saudi Arabia. The truth is that our position is that you should excuse yourself for every 5 years interval. I mean, you should be ready to go to Hajj only after 5-year interval. And we try to monitor it as much as possible. Except those who have business in there. I mean, business in the sense that they are either tour operators or they work for the Pilgrims Board or the Commission. Those when their services are needed. Otherwise, our position is that for every pilgrims, particularly in this area of scarcity, you have to wait for 5 years before you intend to go to another Hajj. The case of Umrah, that's Hajj, it will be a different thing. But for Hajj, it is after each 5 years. The second one is that, of course, even the National Hajj Commission is a child of legislation, the National Hajj Commission Act. And I'm also aware that every Pilgrims Board or agency in the state also have an act backing them. Of course, there will be the need to improve on the legislation over time. Yes, there will be the need certainly, because every action of man that want to be guided by sanity must have a law governing it.
All right, Prof, now let's come to you. We've seen people go to Hajj, and they return, we call them Alhaji, Alhaja, but the things that are meant to be done over there, some, for whatever reasons, will not do it. Now let's, for the sake of education, what are the things you do when you get there?
Well, that's a very good question, and it's a kind of rider to what I have said earlier on. When the right set of people, are not actually making the pilgrimage, if the right set of people are the one that are embarking on this pilgrimage, I'm sure by the time they return home, they become better person, because that is the essence, really. I remember very well the sayings of the Prophet that mentioned that man ajja hadha al-bayta falam yarfasu walam yafsuku خَرَجَ مِنْ ذُنُوبِهِ كَيَوْمَ وَلَدَتْهُ أُمُّهُ. That is, whoever has paid visit to the holy house of Allah, and is able to do all those things that you have asked perfectly, it does not involve in evil, does not involve in any kind of dispute, will return back home as a newly born baby, meaning will be free of all sins. So that is from the perspective of somebody who has been able to go there and do what is expected of him or her. Now, basically, we have said that it is a spiritual journey. It's a spiritual exercise. And it has pillars where all the Ujaj are expected, to perform. The very first of it is adorning the ihram. The ihram is the white garment you see them putting on. This is very, very essential. And if I can just simply put it, it's a kind of leveler. Because really, yes, that is it. It's a leveler.
Yeah.
When we get there, I don't want to know is the president of a country, is the governor of a state, is a professor,
Is a king.
is a king. We
Is
do
a
not
judge.
know. When we get there, we are put on the same uniform, and we appear as just one person in the sight of our Creator. Do not forget, the basis of Islam has always been the person that is honorable in the sight of Allah is that individual that fears Allah most, that has the consciousness of Allah. It could be a pauper who has nothing, but that is conscious of his Creator. That fellow is more honored by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than even a king. That one everybody feels, oh, this is an honorable individual. So that is the first thing. And of course, when we get there, after adorning the ihram, another fundamental pillar is to do the tawaf. Tawaf, as I'm sure you must have seen, is the circumambulating around the house of Allah 7 times in anti-clockwise direction. This is a form of worship. In fact, let me also tell you that this even predates the Islam as taught by Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, because talking about Hajj, really, it has a connection between Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, that the Muslims, the Christians, the Jew, everybody believe is a father of faith. So it has a connection with Ibrahim, because Ibrahim alayhi salam was actually the one that built the Kaaba. It has a connection with his son, Prophet Ismail, alayhi salam, and it has a connection with the mother of Prophet Ismail, that is Hajara. And that is why you see some of those essentialities, some of those tasks the pilgrims involve, revolve around these 3 people that I have mentioned. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked Ibrahim to build the house, and upon completion, he said, call into the house for people to come and do what? To come and do tawaf around the house of Allah, to come and worship Allah. And that is why, since then, you see people doing the tawaf around the house of Allah. Even before Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, like I mentioned at the beginning. Of course, apart from the tawaf, it is also very essential on the night of Zulhijjah, because Hajj exercise has a kind of timing. We cannot just embark on Hajj anytime that we want, just like Ramadan. Ramadan is done in the month of Ramadan, the same way Hajj is done in the month of Hajj. So when it is the night of Zulhijjah, all the Ujaj are expected to assemble at the plain of Arafah. In fact, Muhammad sallallahu was been quoted to say that al-Hajju Arafah, that is the real Hajj. If you want to be commissioned that you have actually, performed Hajj, is you being present at the plain of Arafah. If you do all that I've mentioned, and for one reason or the other, you are not able to be present at Arafah, you have not actually carried out that Hajj exercise. And I tell you, what is the significance of converging at the plain of Arafah? Remember, in Islam, we believe that everything we are doing in this world does not end here. And obviously, a day shall come when Allah is going to raise all of us, when we shall be called to judgment. Look, if you want to have a very good thought about this, come to Arafat. And at this place, you see millions of people adoring the same uniform, standing before their Creator, as if judgment is about to be passed. So it's a kind of reminder that a day shall come when, as we are converging here, so our Creator is going to raise us, when we shall be what? When we shall be judged about what we have come to do on the surface of the earth. You cannot imagine somebody with that knowledge returning home and still engaging in all kind of immoralities. Then you begin to ask the question, has this person actually performed the Hajj? So all this put together are those things expected of an individual to return home and of course be a very good human being, a good person, you know, be reformed entirely. And that is the essence of Islam anyway.
Alhaji Hassan, I'm coming to you now. And my question is, are you confident that is from the board perspective and from the perspective of the National Hajj Commission, that the various program boards set up or that will be set up by the state are on the same page with you as far as this year's Hajj operation is concerned, especially in the area of pilgrims? And this is where I'm going. In the last 2 years, some people were not able, but they were hoping. They paid. Those that paid, I know in some states, were asked to come and collect their money or leave it there.
Exactly.
They left it there. Then the following year, they added to it, thinking that Hajj operations, Hajj will be possible. Now it's not possible. Now it's going to be possible now. And basically, you would think it should be first come, first serve. And when you say first come, first serve, those that have been queuing up and have been having their money, maybe they will just ask to add a little based on what the dollar is saying now.
Yes.
Now, I know the board is taking all this, we will put all this into the various pilgrims board. I'm talking about the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria's board. But are you confident that you are all on the same page with the various pilgrims boards?
Well, in a way, I would say yes, because once a body refused to do the right thing, there's likely to be insurrection even within that state, since those people who paid are actually wouldn't have had a member of the state. But what do we do? We have asked in the last 6 months ago to ask all of them to send data each per year of the pilgrims' contribution. Because like you did say, we asked people to come and collect. They actually refused to do that. We made an announcement. People refuse to do that because, as you know, Hajj is a spiritual commitment. And so for many, once their money is there, their mind is there, they are not going to get the money back. And we promise Nigerians that we will make it the issue of first come, first serve. So we have this data with us. And we also follow compliance. The only difference will be somebody could have paid since 2019. When the issue of completing the money arises, he may not be able to fulfill that. In that case, that will be an exception. But for those, I'm saying this for all Nigerians to hear, if you pay your money in 2019 or 2020, there's no reason why you will not be part of this year's Hajj, except you are not able to afford. I'm using this opportunity to say that if there's any person who falls into that category and is denied, he should feel free to petition us, and we will listen to their cry. So we are committed to ensure that it is first come and first serve, because that is indeed the right way, the right thing to do. That is the only equitable way out of this situation we have, that there are more people who are demanding than the supply available. We will try our best. Once any Nigerian feels should change in this matter, they should feel free to petition to us, and we'll ensure compliance.
All right, still on you, sir. Hajj is really expensive. Let me use that word in terms of money and looking at the economic situation that we have right now. Savings scheme. Are you thinking in that direction, and how do you want to implement that kind of scheme to ensure that people can save up their money for this process?
Well, first, you are indeed right. And I'm going to tell you why Hajj appears expensive. I must concede to that. It is because the cost content of Hajj is about 97% in dollars. And I just like to let you know. Flights is in dollars. Accommodation in both Saudi and Mecca and Medina is in dollars. Feeding is in dollars because the Saudi Arabia law requires that the caterer must be a Saudi company. Although we also insisted that the Saudi company must have a partnership with a Nigerian catering company because Saudi people cannot do Nigerian food. But still, it has to be paid in dollars. Service charge for other service providers within the kingdom also is in dollars. So the only Nigerian content is possibly the clothes, the uniform they wear to the kingdom, and the bags. So because of that, whenever the exchange rate spike, it's going to affect the cost of Hajj. Like last Hajj was on $306 dollars, but this year's Hajj is on the official rate of $410 dollars. That is 34% increase, and that is what translated to the increment. In September 2020, our board, for the first time in the history of Nigeria, and I will also say in the history of any Pilgrim commission in Africa, instituted what we call the Hajj Savings Scheme. The truth is that it has been the act of the National Hajj Commission since 2006, but we were bold enough to say we will start it. And the starting point, we had an engagement with the Jaiz Bank, where into the estate Jaiz Bank considered that the money with them, they are going to invest. If there's a loss, only Jaiz Bank will bear the loss. But once the profit which we expect, it will go to those involved in the process, the contributor. And this has happened actually. For those who have joined the Hajj Savings Scheme since 2020, there have been returns in their money. And it's just like being a customer of a bank. It's a return that you can see in your phone, in your contract with the bank. This has taken place. We have started it. And we are committed to continue it because it's just the way to go. Hajj is a multi-billion-dollar industry. It involves a lot of money. And we know that once you are able to get to a stage where you buy your services wholesale, it will bring down the price. Beyond that, once you are saving your money gradually, earning profit, at the time when it's be your time, you will have done some subsidy which you worked for yourself. And so this is the way to go. We have started it, and the various state Pilgrim welfare board are keying into it, and we are encouraging Nigerians that you can just go, check your app, ask about Hajj Savings Scheme, Jaiz Bank. You can also start enrollment. This is the way to go. Save for your Hajj. Don't go and beg. It's nothing dignifying. Thank you.
Prof, I'm coming back to the issue of sponsorship. Yes, we said, and the Hajj Commission also said that it is not in their character, so they are also against government, but individuals can sponsor people to Hajj.
Yes.
Now, you will now find out that some sponsorship, just like Alhaji Hassan said, it's like, how do you call it? It's like some sponsorships are like when you get to Hajj and you see them, it's like they've come there to torment them. I mean, so if you want to sponsor an individual to Hajj, what should be considered, and what should you do? Is it just about paying the tickets and leaving him? Is it just so? For that person not to go out begging, because I've seen a lot begging, and you begin to wonder, don't you know that you are coming to Hajj?
For this place.
Yeah.
In fact, let me begin with my experience in 2008 when I went on Hajj. Towards the end of the exercise, you know, in fact, when we finished the exercise, we had the problem of, being lifted back to Nigeria, we had a kind of delay. So unfortunately, people have, spent the money they are left with. Because ordinarily, after the exercises, you are not expected to be there for such a long time. There was this woman, aged woman anyway. I guess she was sponsored by, I don't know the actual person, but she was sponsored by somebody. When she opened her mouth and said, wow, I didn't know that I am being brought here to go through this suffering. I said, wow, what a statement. So I try as possible to correct the woman anyway, but it's just pointing to the question you have asked. You are going to sponsor somebody to Hajj. Yeah, it's okay. It's sadaqah. Allah will reward you. But the thing is, don't do it halfway. Yes, you have paid for the ticket. You have paid for the hotel. What about feeding? So everything involved must be sponsored if you have chosen to sponsor anybody. So that an individual will not be in that place and be thinking that, wow, you have come to make me suffer. Rather, I should be the other way around and continue to thank Allah, continue to thank you, pray for you for what you have done. So what I'm saying in essence is that if at all you are going to, sponsor anybody, you want to do favor, that is it. You are seeking a kind of blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like I said, it is sadaqah, it is charity. Then do it.
Don't do halfway.
Don't do halfway, exactly. So you must just complete it. In fact, to the extent that I want to have this, that the individual, upon return back to the country, you must also be careful to see it does not go back to either begging, perhaps the person has been finding it so difficult to feed while here. When the person returns, you must also ensure that that person will not be going through such a hardship. Exactly. So, and that is what I think that what sponsors should be having at the back of their mind.
All right, Prof, I would like to ask you this question. Is it compulsory for pilgrims to stay in Medina before moving to Mecca? If yes, what is the significance? That's number one. Number two is that what people go to Hajj because some of them with the fact that, okay, if I go there, I would pray these prayer points in my mind, and I believe that I would to be answered. Now, are there opportunities for that, and where and when are that opportunity available?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and I'm going to start from that second one by going straight to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. In Quran chapter 3, verse 96 down to 97, let me just speak the phrase. Allah says, whoever man da'alahu kana aminan, whoever enters the house of Allah, that is, whoever is able to make the pilgrimage, automatically becomes secured. That is the statement of Allah. So it is not doubtful in any way that prayer made at Hajj, with all sincerity, let's put that, will be answered. With all sincerity, will be answered. Do you get it now?
Yes, sir.
So, and you see people essentially embarking on this pilgrimage solely because of that, and that is in a way, not completely correct, because really, the intention of embarking on pilgrimage ab initio should be to worship your Creator. It's a form of worship, like you said, is the fifth pillar of Islam. So it is worship. So yes, going along with the worship are all these, added advantage. So that is that. So the prayer said anywhere will be answered. Now going to the first question, is it compulsory to pay visit to Medina? Well, The answer is not compulsory. Not compulsory, because all the act of Hajj that I tried to summarize at that time, you will notice that I didn't mention going to Medina. You know,
They are all based in Mecca.
they are all based in Mecca. However, the additional thing that has been added to pilgrimage is a kind of Sierra. We call it Sierra. Tourism. You know, is just few percentage of it. So, because
what you have heard, what you have read in history,
exactly. Because
you must also see
the sojourn of Islam does not end in Mecca. At a point, Muhammad Sallallahu migrated from Mecca to Medina. So getting to Medina, he erected another house of Allah there. So of course it is expected of us that we've heard of this. So it is also good to do what? To pay visit. You know, we've read, we've heard about different things, you know, that were done in the history of Islam, which are located there in Medina. So of course, you are in the vicinity, so it affords you an opportunity to see. And do not forget, seeing is believing.
Okay, I'd like to ask Alaji two questions in one, Alaji. First of all, Nigerians are very special people. We are very special people because the world knows us to be special in terms of, for the wrong reasons actually. Now, how do you intend to, having done all your due diligence, how do you intend to checkmate the so-called few wrong people or few people with the wrong reasons that will be going to that trip with you? And secondly, the State's Pilgrims Welfare Board, what are you expecting them to bring to the table in terms of welfare, medical, and all other things, facilities what do you expect them to bring along to the table?
Well, it is true that we are special people, but you may wish to also know that as it is today, it's difficult to complete the history of the modern Saudi Arabia people without Nigerian inputs. And what do I mean by that? You could see a black Saudi, and you'll be surprised that it's not only in Nigeria, he still have his Nigerian roots. And so when you want to mention his name, he will say, my name is Abdurrahman Abdullahi Al-Sawi. And his great-grandfather is the one who migrated to Saudi Arabia. By that, he's trying to say that my origins are in Hausa. I could say, my name is Abdullahi Al-Barnawi. I came from Borno. I mean, let me give it to you that the current Consul General of Saudi Arabia in Nigeria, who is based in Kano, and his name is Al-Adamawi, for you to know that it's from Adamawa. Yet he's a Consul General. So you don't just look at it from the negative. In fact, we see a lot of Nigerians of origin who are now Saudi citizens holding very significant position even in the kingdom. They may not be as many as you see them in Mecca, but if you go to Riyadh and other places, find them. We have an history of even being part of those who have contributed to the construction of the mosque in time past. So we have our own positive history too as well. Do we have issues? Yeah, we're Nigerian, like you said. Anyway, we have which you are color. What are we trying to do? First, we have a pilgrim enlightenment unit. We will go this year and the next few weeks to go and support the different pilgrim board and enlighten the prospective pilgrims, not just on how to do worship, but on other areas where they may be contaminated. For instance, don't carry another person's back to the kingdom. You may be carrying drugs without knowing. Other things is that you should know something that you think you can go easily, but you are not meant to carry to the kingdom. If you want to go to the kingdom, don't carry cola, not in commercial quantity. They will take you to be a criminal. So beyond the act of worship, we also embarking on other series of enlightenment. And we have exchanged syllabus with the Pilgrim Board of each state on what to do. As for medical, what we have now is what we call the National Medical Team. National Medical Team has 40 contribution of medical personnel from the federal and 60 divided along the state, so that we have National Medical Team well synchronized, not just when they get there, the medical, attend to Nigerian Muslim. It doesn't matter where they come from. And because they will be of different language, so it's easy for pilgrims to get attention as soon as he attend our clinic. And beyond that is the fact that when there are issues beyond our clinic, we already have referral relationship with the Saudi hospital. But let me also say, we are traveling with security personnel. We are traveling with state security DSS staff. We are traveling with Nigerian police. We are traveling with Nigerian Army. All will be in Mufti. We are traveling actually with EFCC staff, ICPC staff. So some Nigerians who think they can just do what they like may come back and find out they are picked up at the airport if their behavior is found wanting. But let me also say, Nigerians have in time past been convicted in Saudi Arabia, pilgrims, and sentenced to prison. So any pilgrims who think you can just go there and behave like you say, quote and unquote, on the Nigerian side, and particularly if it's in the side of crime, there's nothing we'll be able to do. I've seen Nigerian jailed. I've seen Nigerian who traveled with counterfeit currency and was jailed in Nigerian pilgrims. We have seen an old innocent woman who traveled with tramadol, just tramadol. Even the Nigerian government delegation will not travel with drugs without getting approval and permission of those drugs from the Saudi government. That's why we insist, if you have a prescription drug, drop it with your medical team for onward transmission to the kingdom. Because some of these things, which we treat with levity here, are not done so that if somebody travels with tramadol, which you may find in some pharmacy, and take it to Saudi Arabia, believe you me, it's going to end up being jail. So some of these enlightenment are ongoing, and the state also aware of this, and we're collaborating with them. But more importantly, we also have security personnel traveling with us. So anybody who is on the side of what is wrong may end up coming back home, and instead of going to his family waiting for him, he may end up getting prosecuted. I do not hope this will happen. Nigerian pilgrims have waited enough, and I suspect with on a good standing, that no one will be found wanting up to the 42,000 most likely lucky pilgrims this year.
I also want you to talk about that I have noticed and I've also seen or experienced is the area of lifting of pilgrims from Nigeria to Saudi Arabia and from Saudi Arabia to Nigeria. I know that early lifting at times could be late and people get apprehensive at the Hajj camp. We know what usually happens. How do you take care of that or learn from past experiences? Because by the time pilgrims get to the Hajj camp and use like 3-4 days sleeping and not knowing when they are to call, you know what that means. And of course, when they get to Saudi Arabia too, and after finishing Hajj, it is the rush home.
Exactly.
And of course, I've also seen pilgrims overstaying in Saudi Arabia, even overstaying at the airport, to the extent that they have to be lodged into a transit hotel. I also, because of the late takeoff here, I've also experienced a situation where some pilgrims were actually lifted straight to Mecca. And it became a debate whether they will have to visit Medina or not. And they said, if you don't take us to Medina, there will be trouble. Eventually, the Pilgrims Board ran around and took them to Medina for some days. All these are the challenges being faced by pilgrims year in, year out. You should know this. You should have read this from the handover notes. How does this board hope to take care of this problem?
Well, let me first say sometimes some of the problems are due to logistics because every single country landing in Saudi Arabia at the same time. Because like has been said, Hajj is done in a specific place, specific time.
Exactly.
And so sometimes you have logistics of slots. That is, the Saudi Arabia government are the only one who can give you landing permit, and they distribute it across nations. Sometimes you will like very faster journey, but like this year they said, we are giving you 43,000, we are giving you 30 days to fly in. So even if you want to do it earlier than that, you have to be ingenious, because they have looked at the one published, the slot they gave you, and they have looked at Indonesia, they have looked at Ghana, they have looked at Sweden, and they are saying we have landing permit limitation. So you can't land at the same time. That will cause some chaos in the system. They said this is what you can do. So the airline themselves will have to apply for landing slot and departure slot, and what they are giving is what they will abide with. There's nothing you are going to be able to do about that. Particularly more so that we don't have a Nigerian airline, so to say. So what we have a local airline partnership who are doing scheduled flight. That is number one. The second one is that it's actually not ideal for somebody who's traveling. Go and be sleeping somewhere before you travel. I mean, for goodness sake, you are going to UK today, you take your passport, you take your baggage, and you head to the airport, not to one place to go and sleep for 1 to 3 days. So we also find out, we also believe that it is not the ideal. You must understand sometimes again the peculiarity of the average Nigerian pilgrims. Like my old father of blessed memory, the only time he flew an airline is when he went to Saudi Arabia. That was the only time he needed to have an international passport. Majority of the pilgrims fall into that category. Some have not even been to Abeokuta before. I'm just using that as an illustration. He probably come from an outskirt, and for him, he has no business in Abeokuta. If he wants to go to Abeokuta, he has to fully prepare. If he knows Abeokuta not now, he get ready to prepare because he's going to the capital. So are many of those pilgrims. They have a passport which they don't understand what it means. They don't understand any language other than their local language. So when even they get to weigh their luggage, it is an extra situation. Sometimes they have to carry so many things that if you go to the screening at the Hajj camp, you'll be surprised at so many things. I mean, some will carry unbelievable things to fly. And when they are even coming back home, you see used milk, you see sachet of pure water. They just want to come back with everything. So sometimes the time you have to expect to screen them is not what you use to screen ordinary travel. The man does not understand why he should leave anything in Saudi Arabia. I mean, those gifts given to him, which are actually useless or health challenge to him, he wants to carry out back to Nigeria. You see kettle, sometimes you are amazed. So whether you like it or not, you need extra time to deal with this kind of pilgrims, because they are Nigerian and they deserve to be treated better. That is why we always insist, knowing the peculiarity. Believe you me, those who go to Hajj mostly are the poor and the illiterate. If you look at the demography, big men don't like to go to Hajj. Once you go once, that's all. I know very big men in Nigerian society who did Hajj maybe 20, 30 years ago, only once. Maybe they go to lesser Hajj. But give a poor man the opportunity, he wants to go to Hajj every year. Give an illiterate man the opportunity, he wants to go to Hajj every year. Nothing you want to tell him, which is not the right thing anyway. But so because of the peculiarity of the status of most Nigerian pilgrims, they deserve maybe stricter attention so that they don't put themselves into trouble and the managers. But I also feel that we can meet at Hajj camp. We don't even have to sleep there for 1 day, not to talk of 3 days. We're working on that. We're trying our best. But sometimes, there's a difficulty of movement. Somebody wants to fly in Lagos. He has to move from Osun. I hope you understand. He has to move from Osun. The person flying from Lagos has to move from Osun. There's the journey challenges along the way. You won't tell him to come overnight so that he won't sleep. You have to come in the day. Even if his flight is in the second day, so that there won't be issue of one vehicle stop on the road, we cannot come. An airline is not meant to wait endlessly for pilgrims. So we work on those strategies this year, that even if somebody must sleep, it must not be more than a night. Because if we do not prepare for that, you may have a challenge. Somebody coming from Ekiti is flying from Ilorin, you have to give the hours. And those from Ekiti are from different parts of Ekiti. The man moving from Abeokuta will have to wait to assemble them first to be sure everybody in the place, and somebody has not forgotten his passport or his foreign exchange. So sometimes pilgrims are, of certain peculiarity. You don't find that with tour operators, because tour operators are moving with more enlightened Nigerians. They don't move them to Accra, they move them straight to the airport. But we will try, and we already have strategized that no one will sleep more than a night if need be. But we will try as much as possible to ensure that people don't sleep. And in coming back home, the issue of sleeping at the airport does not arise anymore, actually, because Saudi Arabia will not give you permission to move out of your home except they are assured that a flight is coming. Now what is done is that they must see that you have a flight waiting, but they will allow you to be discharged from Mecca. Otherwise, they will not allow you to go. They will not provide you the vehicle you need to get to the airport. So the issue of sleeping at the airport does not arise anymore. What may be a challenge now is the plane to fly as scheduled. And we already have a contract. If you don't fly as at the time agreed, you will be penalized, and your final payment will be affected by your level of operational efficiency.
All right. Prof, those who, during Tawaf, those who insist and rush to actually kiss the black stone or hold on to the frame of the Kaaba, or do the Tawaf very close around to the Kaaba.
House, yeah.
Do they have special rewards than those who just even go upstairs and just wave? And because I look at the rush, I've experienced it, and I know I was almost thrown aboard, suffocation, so to say. But you see people insisting, and while some people will be shouting, "Aram, just do your thing." So what's
well, Alhamdulillah, that's a very good point you have just raised there. Do you know that this experience you just talked about is not just limited to Nigerians?
Yeah, sure, not limited to Nigerians.
I have seen the wives, engaging in this kind of thing, and everyone begins to wonder, wow.
They are the most.
Is it that these people do not also understand? That's the question one will be asking. So, of course, the starting of the Tawaf, we all know, begins from where we have the Hajar al-Aswad. That is the black stone. So it signifies the starting point. And of course, individual is expected, to touch and just say Allahu Akbar. Now, if allowed to kiss the stone, because Muhammad Sallallahu was seen to do that. However, let me mention categorically that nothing is attached to this, either in terms of worship, other in terms of spiritual benefits. Nothing at all is attached. In fact, let me quote.
It doesn't increase your reward.
Let me even quote the second Caliph, that is Umar. Umar, at a point when he was to do the Tawaf, he moved closer to the stone and said, "I know you are just an ordinary stone, and that by kissing you, I know it is going to add nothing to my belief. But because I've seen Prophet doing it, that's why I want to do it." So, and he said that purposely so that people will know that there is nothing attached to this. So, another what I'm saying invariably is that all those that wants to do the Tawaf, all they need to do is just to make it the starting point, and wherever you do it, the Tawaf, either you move closer or either you go up. In fact, one beautiful thing I observe with the new form of the house is, I think the authority in Mecca, they have constructed a kind of barricade. So we're not even allowing you to be closer to it this time around. And I think I want to give that to them because they know the hardship people used to encounter.
Okay.
All right, our time is running and we have to go. But before we go, Alhaji Hassan, your last words to pilgrims that will be going for this year's Hajj, your last word as we...
And to Nigerians generally.
As Nigerians generally.
Nigerians, it should be for us to go and come back in good time and, of course, in good state. We will remember the Nigerian people and the Nigerian government, all of us who are traveling, in our prayers. My message to prospective pilgrims, you've had it all. The purpose of the journey is spiritual, not the gold and the things. I'm not against that. If you choose to, it's your money. The only thing is that I've been going to, for you to begin to Saudi Arabia since 1987. I've not been able to save enough to buy a gold teeth. So if you think you have so much surplus, well, that's your choice, but that is not the reason for traveling. It's also not the reason, it's not also the title, because I'm aware some people wanted to go because they cannot imagine that up till now they are not referred to as Alhaji and Alhaji. It's not meant to be. It's not meant to be a social status, by the way. So let them remember that the Quran has said, "Fatazawwadu, fa inna khayra zadillahi at-taqwa." Get prepared, but the best form of preparation is the fear of Allah. You are going for a journey which will make you to be alone with your Creator and to give you the imagination that a day will come when you alone will remain your Creator. Once you put that in front of you, then the whole essence will be meaningful, and it won't be just something like a waste of time, a waste of effort, and just a title when you come back home. I wish all of us, as we always wish ourselves, Hajj Mabruran, Wasa'iyan Mashkura, Wazaban Watijaratan Lan Takura.
We have to go now. Thank you very much. We've been looking at the topic, 2022 Hajj operations, an in-depth look at the sacred journey. We want to thank, joining us from Abuja, thank him very much. We actually took some of his time. Alhaji Zikrullah Olakunle Hazan, with the Chairman, National Hajj Commission of Nigeria Board. Alhaji, once again, thank you very much for having time for us this morning.
You're most
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
I also want to thank here, right here in the studio, Professor Sherif Adewi, with the Deputy National Coordinator, Dawa Front of Nigeria, Abeokuta, and a lecturer of the Chemistry Department of the FUNAB, that is Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. Prof, thank you very much for coming.
You're most welcome.
Tunde, should I thank you?
We are just doing our job. We should thank Nigerians for joining us every Friday, and I'm sure you enjoyed it. So next week's another time to join us again, and let's enjoy New Dawn together on OGTV. Until then, on behalf of Akim Akinside and myself, I want to say thank you, and have a wonderful day.